Be bold, be brave, be confident, be badass. Fearless Fridays are filled with the best tips, advice, and direction, like tasty apple-a-day tidbits that grow intuition from your supply of common sense. Fridays are for skills and drills and your forward-focused mindset, under the watchful guidance of Kelly Orchard, Badass Certifier. Certifying badasses, one podcast at a time. Turn up your energy with Fruitful Friday. Here again is Kelly Orchard.
That's right. Turn up your energy. Kelly Orchard, the Badass Certifier. Certifying badasses, one podcast at a time. And thank you so much for joining me once again. I've been noticing the uptick in my downloads for the podcast, and I want to thank you so much for not only listening, but some of you must be sharing it. Either that or you're listening more than once. But hey, that's either way is great with me. I'm so glad that you're hopping on the bus to Badassville, and I really sincerely hope that you sign up and get you my Badass Habits ebook, because that'll be really helpful, and then let me send you a sticker. Yes, I do have the License to Be Badass sticker, proudly sporting on my car and on, many things that I own right now. And so I'd love for you to be having a License to Be Badass sticker yourself. So all you got to do to get one is grab my Badass Habits ebook. Give me your address, and I will mail it to you. Seriously. Today I've got some great things for you. A little bit of nostalgia from an assignment that I wrote for college to help kind of identify how to tap into your five senses. And then I've also got some, obviously apples of wisdom and more about the second letter A in the B.A.D.A.S.S acronym, which stands for awareness. I've got more information for you there. So Bobby Ocean, please take it away.
The most offensive F word you know is fear. A badass becomes fearless. Fear is the number one obstacle to success. Let's flip the format on your fear.
Alrighty then, and here we go. Certifying badasses, one podcast at a time on this Fruitful Friday. This whole month of April, we're going to be working on the second A in the B.A.D.A.S.S acronym, which is awareness. And I'm teaching you a little bit about emotional intelligence, positive psychology, and how to practice some of these awareness techniques. And today it's really interesting. I found some more about nostalgia. I've shared with you for a while now that my parents recently moved in with me. Well, it's not so recent anymore. I think they've been here about a year now since all the COVID stuff started. And it's literally been a year of Kelly Orchard, this is your life for me. And my mom is a collector of memorabilia and keepsakes. And so it's really interesting the finds that I'm discovering from my past and my history. And so when I saw this, it was very interesting. Now, I've always been a writer. I've loved creative writing since I was a kid. I started writing poems at the age of 13 or even younger. Started keeping a journal at the age of 15 and have never stopped. Obviously, I write podcasts. I write my apple a day. I've written numerous articles for trade publications. Anyway, enough of that. I am a writer. And when I was in college, I went back to college in the 90s. After I was a mom and everything, it was for me, I just wanted, intrinsically, I wanted to earn that college education. And anyway, so I'm going to share with you an assignment that I just rediscovered that my mom saved in a scrapbook with a bunch of other poems I had written. And the reason I want to share it with you is because, I do teach mindfulness and, awareness. And that means being aware of your five senses, your sight, your hearing, your touch, your smell, and your I forget that, and your emotions. So I wanted to bring this up because this one was a really interesting exercise. And I do have a whole exercise in the A segment of my License to Be Badass program, but this one is a really good one. I loved it because I talk about a recording studio. So I found this assignment. This is more lessons on awareness with a little bit of nostalgia, which is a mood booster. I found this assignment that I had written for an English class in 1997 for community college. It was at a time I was working in another area, another field, but I was recording some voiceovers for a friend who had built a studio in an extra room in his house. What a great reminder of total awareness as I share with you the experience of being in a box recording studio. The assignment initially was to do something about waking up your senses. Of course, it's the 5 senses, and that's what we learn in practicing awareness. And so this was a creative writing English course. And the assignment was initially to go out into nature and experience it. But for me, it was pretty profound to share about a recording studio, and it was going to be a little bit different. So I'd like to share with you. And then I want you to try to do the same thing to practice awareness. Okay, so here we go. Sight. I'm in a plywood box in a room in a house. The box is the size of a refrigerator, a really big refrigerator. I see a bright light aimed at a stationary paper stand to shine light on the radio script in front of me. A black microphone is also on a stand with a black screen the size of a 45 record, about 4.5 inches in diameter, is in front of the microphone. I see the headset hanging on a lower stand. It's black and silver with plastic earphones, like earmuffs you wear in the wintertime. The flimsy plywood door with a silver screw sticking out has nothing to hold it together closed except a magnet. The 4 walls and ceiling of this recording studio box are covered in yellow foam rubber, like the inside of a package marked fragile. Hearing. As I put the headset over my ears, I hear the rustle of my hair as it is squashed closer to my head. I hear my own voice, not the voice you hear inside your head when you speak, but the voice everybody else hears, which everyone knows sounds different. It's a familiar voice to me, almost comforting, as I don't hear it very often anymore. I sound like a radio announcer, talking about events, the weather, and funny things that I think about. I hear my own thoughts. What do I say next? Otherwise, because of the soundproofing of the recording studio, I hear nothing but silence. Touch. I feel warm. Usually it's very hot in the box, like an oven, which is ironic since the box is similar to a refrigerator box. I feel the headphones over my ears and it feels like a familiar hat, comfortable, cozy. I touch the microphone screen and it's soft like cotton, stretched in a round frame like somebody's embroidery project. I touch the dingy yellow foam rubber walls and they feel cushiony. My kids would appreciate jumping into a pile of this stuff and bouncing out of it. Smell. I smell the collection of other bodies that have spent time recording in here before me. It almost smells like a gym locker room without the stench of sweat socks. The microphone smells like a combination of other announcers' breath. Some drink coffee, some smoke cigarettes. It also smells like warm metal, kind of coppery. Taste. I can't eat a snack when I record, but I chewed a piece of mint gum before I got here, and I drink coffee with vanilla flavoring before I left the house to go record. So I taste a hint of vanilla, coffee, and mint gum. My mouth is dry. I need some water. Dominant mood. I feel anxious and happy, tranquil but excited. I'm anxious about other things going on in my life, personal, kids, school, my English, math, and psych homework. I'm here to make an air check for a job lead of a syndicated radio show, and I'm wondering if I'm wasting my time. Tranquil and happy because this is a familiar thing for me to do. I haven't played radio in months, and it's a feeling of home. I feel very comfortable and excited about the possibility of getting a radio job with a program that would be broadcast around the country. I'm having fun, but wondering if I'm just spinning my wheels. Is this a job I really want? Next on this paper, it just says 7, 8, and 9, which I'm assuming are the questions that needed to be asked after the 5 senses was documented. What I wrote was, as I talk into the microphone, I feel as though I'm talking to an old friend. Sometimes the microphone is the only true friend I've ever known. You can't be funny to a microphone. It only reproduces what you give it. Sure, you can change your voice with the facts and manipulation in some way, but it's always you. Only to other ears, it's different. Like the mask you put on so others don't know how you feel. But inside, you always know your true self. That's how a microphone treats you, like a mirror. You can't hide who you are. You can act. This is home to me. It's all I've known for half my life. Very familiar. Friendly. Should I just stay here? In this industry? In this life? Or is the challenge of a new life ahead of me? It's fun doing what I know so well. But do I want this? I have to pursue something. Is school just biding my time until the job in whatever field I'm qualified in becomes available? I'm listening to the microphone. I wrote this assignment in 1997, and it was right before I moved to Sacramento. I actually put my college education on hold and moved up to Sacramento with my 3 kids to go back and work in radio. I was working in sales at the time. I didn't go after an on-air position after all, because one thing that I knew at the time is that I had to support my kids. I needed some freedom. And sales was a better option for me because I knew how to sell advertising. I knew the kind of freedom that I would have. And I knew that I could make much more money in sales than I could being on the air. And so that's kind of what the decision was. But the thing is that I knew I had to pursue something. I had fun with that. And a lot has changed for me since then. I mean, I did finish my bachelor's degree. Then I had heart failure. And then I went and got my master's degree and I became a licensed psychotherapist. But look what happens. Here I am. I find myself working behind the microphone again, doing something very, very familiar and what I love, but in a completely different way. You too can transform your life to whatever you want with whatever you've been doing, and you can love it. Turn it into something different. So I want to encourage you to, on this Fruitful Friday, as you go into the weekend, and we'll get back to some weekend vibes in a minute and some apple a day, but I want to encourage you to practice some awareness. Do an assignment similar to this, wherever you are, whether you're sitting in your work environment or you're at home, or you take a trip, you drive somewhere and really experience what you have for all the 5 senses. Why? Because that's how you begin practicing awareness and mindfulness. It's an exercise to help you get there.
A badass is mindful of their surroundings, has a positive mindset and a plan. A badass is aware of their emotions, acknowledges their fears and owns them, and knows when they need a positive attitude adjustment.
And there you go. You know, I love Fruitful Friday. Sometimes Bobby calls it Fearless Friday, and I think I understand why, because I talk a lot about flipping the format on the fear of failure, because that's why we're getting licensed to be badass. And this is you, fruitfulness and weekend vibes. I want you to practice awareness this weekend. So I want to give you just kind of a short review to remember that the B.A.D.A.S. acronym is, the letter B in B.A.D.A.S. stands for be bold, be brave, be confident, be yourself. You learn not only how to be yourself, but the ways that you're different and unique. Then we cover the letter A in B.A.D.A.S., which teaches you that attitude is everything, and you need a positive one in order to succeed. The D in B.A.D.A.S. is for deciding to grow and succeed. That's actually a critical ingredient to success, to decide to make a change or grow. You'll learn to be determined, dedicated, and disciplined so you can dominate. And then, of course, the B.A.D.A.S. course covers the second letter of A in B.A.D.A.S., which is what we're covering all this month of April on the Podcast For Successful Badassery. The second letter A stands for awareness and acknowledging the thoughts and behaviors that hold you back. This leads to emotional intelligence and how to allow success to come with a positive mindset. The first S in B.A.D.A.S. means steadfastly stay the course. This is where we often get hung up. And if what we want doesn't come soon enough, well, that's when we give up. And that encourages you to stay the course and learn how to be flexible and nimble with your dreams and goals. So let's just kind of review for the letter A, the second A in B.A.D.A.S. A badass is happy, healthy, and strives to have a balanced life. A badass is mindful of their surroundings, has a positive mindset, and a plan. A badass is determined to grow, disciplined in the process, and dedicated to their goals. You've probably seen the motivation quote called "The Essence of Destiny." Watch your thoughts, for they become words. Choose your words, for they become actions. Understand actions, for they become habits. Study your habits, for they become your character. Develop your character, for it becomes your destiny. If you're here listening to this podcast, you're well on your way to the path towards successful badassery and a badass destiny. What you've been learning is how our negative thoughts soon become negative words. So when we flip it to positive thoughts, they become positive words. And that's what the essence of destiny describes. When you learn to flip the negative format to positive, you will alter your destiny. And awareness is definitely key. When we are not aware of our negative mindset, we sabotage our success. What do I mean by self-sabotage? Well, bad habits stunt your growth, and that's the worst culprit in how you think about yourself. Negative thinking is self-sabotage. Think of that term as anything you allow to interfere with success in your personal life and in your business. For example, your career, your relationships, your health are all affected when you complain, panic, follow the crowd, don't communicate your needs or ideas, eat or drink too much, smoke too much, and don't get any exercise. Self-sabotage includes any thinking or behaving in a way that holds you back from achieving a goal. What you learn in my program is how to identify those habits and behaviors that hold you back. Allow yourself to understand the repercussions of self-sabotaging behaviors and thoughts. Seek to understand why you've developed these poor habits, and then create new badass rules for yourself. The beginning of awareness and developing emotional intelligence is something like this. When my health crisis derailed my life, I had to build a new track in life. Society tells us that in order to be considered successful, we have to set high standards, achieve our goals, never give up, and never look back. I had always aligned myself with that concept until my heart gave out, and I found myself so weak that I was unable to even walk from my bedroom to my living room without having to rest. Through more than 2.5 years of dealing with heart problems, seeing heart specialists, undergoing numerous tests and surgeries, there came a time when I realized that I just couldn't make the things happen that I wanted most in life. My future was beyond my control. I wrote my first book, Heart Lessons, almost as my own therapeutic tool, as much as I wanted to share about the strong connection between the spiritual, intellectual, emotional, and physical lessons that we need to learn on our journey through life. It's a testament of faith and resilience through adversity and the power of surrender. I share my story with a sincere hope that it will inspire, encourage, and empower you to live with confidence and self-compassion. No matter what you've been through and no matter how old you are, it's never too late to follow your heart and build a new dream. You see, anything worth having is going to take some time. Flipping the format on the negative aspect of our lives means acknowledging the value of recreating self-identity, choosing freedom from emotional bondage, seeking opportunity and self-respect, and being willing to dream a new dream and letting go of an old dream that no longer serves you. Now, I share this story often, and maybe you've heard it before. I do talk about it often. This is my key story. I spent most of my professional years in radio. My dad was in radio before any of us kids were ever born, and when I was in high school, he built the first of several radio stations. I had the extremely unique honor of having one named after me, KLLY FM 95.3, Kelly 95 in Bakersfield, California. Radio is a fun business, and I've enjoyed my long career and all of its challenges and successes. In the small Victor Valley community where my radio career began, there was a time when I was a local celebrity. However, by the time I was 28, I was divorced and raising 3 small children as a single mother. Life wasn't as idyllic as I had hoped, and as I struggled with unresolved grief and loss over the death of one of my brothers, When you're struggling with grief and loss, you don't always make the best life choices. Raising kids alone was certainly not a dream goal of mine, but I did my best. And fortunately, although there were ups and downs, I raised 3 amazing human beings. I was in my early 40s when I experienced my life-changing health crisis. I was hospitalized with stage 3 congestive heart failure brought on by atrial fibrillation, which caused my heart to beat too fast and work too hard and then begin to fail. They told me I could have died. At any moment, I could have had a blood clot travel to my brain and cause a stroke, or gone into cardiac arrest, or just die from a heart that was too weak to pump blood. All I could think about was that I was too young to die for it to be all over, and how would my kids and parents handle my death? The first diagnosis and hospitalization were just the beginning of a long journey that would change everything for me. I had a pacemaker implanted to control my heart rate, and I was placed on a regimen of drugs. Beyond the pacemaker implantation, I also endured a surgical procedure called a catheter ablation 3 times within a year to remedy the arrhythmia that was caused by an electrical malfunction in the way my heart beat. The roller coaster ride and nightmare were wrought with more than 2 years of depression, fatigue, fear, sadness, anger, stress, and discouragement. Any and all plans I had made for personal and professional advancement disappeared. The 3rd surgical procedure appears to have cured the arrhythmia, and my heart recovered, stronger than ever. My cardiologist told me that I was very lucky, and since most people who have suffered from a weakened heart and who jumped through all those hoops I had to, don't normally come back as strongly as I did. It became my mission to help others cope with and learn from their experience, gaining perspective and following their heart in the aftermath of a life-derailing crisis. And haven't we all been in one this past year? So in addition to my health problems, I've experienced and overcome so many things: insecurity, fear, death of loved ones, failure in marriage, single parenting, business and professional successes, as well as failure, and more. My intent is to help you realize that you're not alone on your journey, and you're badass just for not giving up. In order to flip the format on the fear of failure, we first must master mindset over skill set. So it's time to acknowledge your feelings and be aware of your emotions. A badass is aware of their emotions. A badass acknowledges their fears and owns them. A badass knows when they need a positive attitude adjustment.
A podcast for successful badassery with Kelly Orchard. Kelly Orchard's Apple a Day. Good medicine for a badass.
Well, alrighty then. It's time for some fruitfulness with some apples of wisdom. You know, the process of growth includes trusting your feelings and learning from the past and taking chances and realizing that everything changes and finding happiness. So when you create a morning ritual for yourself that focuses on what you want to desire for that day, start by visualizing a great day. Find a quiet moment in the morning to program your mind about the kind of day you'd like to have. If you close your eyes and picture a tranquil morning and afternoon, you can carry that inner peacefulness throughout the day. I've adopted this daily practice in my life, and it has made a huge impact on my personal and professional growth. Just recall what I told you, the assignment that I shared with you earlier about the 5 senses and stirring them up. I encourage all of my clients to spend time visualizing what they want their day to look like, as well as their week, their month, and their life. You can begin by practicing this act of love for yourself, even while at your desk. Just take a moment to imagine what you want. And when you engage all 5 senses, you begin to truly visualize your day. What does it feel like? What does it smell like? What does it taste like, sound like, and look like? Trust your heart to lead you where you truly want to go, and know that things are likely to change, and you'll be fine. And if something doesn't feel right, it probably isn't. You've got to love yourself enough to listen to your intuition. Your body reacts to stress. Your body also reacts to intuition. When something isn't right in a relationship, a work environment, or your personal life, your body tells you. When you don't listen to what your body already knows, you prolong the agony. There is a way to make decisions that help us grow in the love we have for ourselves, and that involves cleansing and uncluttering our minds. So stop waffling on your decisions. Deciding is like washing your hands. Deciding cleanses your mind, removing mental residues, such as the concern about whether you made the right choice. So take time to wash your hands of whatever is holding you back from making the right decision.
How do you like them apples? Now, go out and be fruitful.
So over the weekend, turn up the energy, turn up the music, and practice paying attention to all 5 senses. What does it feel like, smell like, taste like, sound like, and look like? And hey, it would be really helpful if you'd write it down. So just remember, for your weekend vibes, you can download my Badass Habits ebook absolutely free. Get on my list and I will send you a license to be badass sticker. How's that for weekend vibes? Thank you so much for joining me. Come back for Mustang Monday, because in the car I've got some special guests, including Sophia Warren, talking about how raising teens is so important, and Liz Jones. Put your face out there for Mustang Monday. So be sure and come back and join me. Have a wonderful Friday.
Flipping the format on the fear of failure. Grab your Badass Habits ebook. Get started on your badass journey. Go to licensedtobebadass.com. Hop on the bus to Badassville.